Have you ever kept kids in your basement? I was 17 years old when I watched my grandmother get on her knees in front of my uncle and collapse from a heart attack. And that's how I spent my 18th birthday standing over her grave, wearing a thrifted black dress that hung off me and had the tag still on. My uncle waited exactly 15 days before contesting the will, because she had left me her life's work, the free weekend music school for foster kids. You see, Grandma Ellen was a former foster child who wanted to give back to society. I was the only one who ever offered to help out with the school, and even learned to play the instruments through YouTube tutorials so I could teach them. But now my uncle wanted the music school building to be sold, insisting that the profits should be split amongst the family. I didn't even care about the money, or my uncle's dumb ego for that matter. All I cared about was that while the case was running, there were now little kids who wanted to go to music school but couldn't. So while my mom was working 20-hour shifts to afford a lawyer, I did what any girl would do in this situation. I started to illegally run an unlicensed music school, right in the basement of our tiny home. But no matter how much we tried to make it work, it wasn't the same. Because aside from the dozens of noise complaints, we could barely fit in the drums, and it was just overstimulation central. Meanwhile, Uncle was set on destroying us, and it seemed like he was going to succeed too. Not only did he have a fancy doctor job, but also the support of my Aunt Susan and cousin Tyler. Apparently a $400,000 salary just wasn't enough for them. They needed the $50,000 from selling the school too. We were 2 weeks into the case when our lawyer offered to take us for free. Turns out she was a former foster kid too, so she wanted to do everything to see us win. At the time, it felt like a huge win, because it meant my mom could spend less time working and more time helping to gather evidence. And I don't know how my uncle found out about it, but he did, and he acted fast. I was fast asleep at 11 p.m. when I woke up to my phone getting spammed with texts. Turns out Uncle had plastered fake screenshots of our chats across his social media. He framed it to make me seem like a greedy biatch. Said I only wanted to keep the school running so I could use the money to go on a Sephora shopping spree and renew my wardrobe. Like, what in the dong? Me and Grandma Ellen never took a cent from the fundraiser. If anything, we lost money trying to keep that school afloat. But people will believe whatever they want to. And the local child services was no exception, because they refused to support us in any way without a unanimous familial agreement. It was around this time that my 4.0 GPA took a huge hit, because I stopped going to school so I could focus on keeping the kids' spirits up. You see, these kids were some of the most rejected members of society. Every one of them had at least one physical and mental health disorder, some sort of injury from their parents, and a story that would break anyone's heart. So the music wasn't just about the instruments. It was about giving them a place to feel like everything would be okay, a place where someone cared about who they were, not just what they could provide. And to everyone but me and my mom, money seemed to matter more than that. I was 3 months into the case, teaching 7-year-old Timmy piano lessons when the doorbell rang. I expected to see another Karen complaining about the noise. Instead, I was faced with Mr. James Bennett, a retired judge who lived across town. Red-rimmed eyes, wholesome smile, very wrinkly. I heard about the music school situation. May I come in? He asked, voice shaking. Something in his expression made me nod and open the door. He smiled as he looked around, as if our home was familiar to him. As soon as he sat down, tears were welling up in his old man eyes. Your grandmother saved my daughter 20 years ago, he said, pulling out a thick folder. My daughter was aging out of foster care, heading down a dark path. Ellen took her in, taught her violin. She's a music therapist now and works with traumatized children. Turns out he had heard about the court case, and instead of trying to get me arrested like the rest of our town, he poured hours into digging up my uncle's skeletons in the closet. My hands shook as he showed me document after document. What I saw made me feel sick. Years of bank statement withdrawals, forged signatures, money secretly drawn from the school's donation account, all under the names of false vendors, all traced back to Uncle David. And together, we were going to destroy him. Full story on channel, link below.